Okay, recording this video after close of trade Friday, 24th of June 2011. Now, I don't want to be too melodramatic, but I think this is quite an important video. Support levels that I talked about on the risk-on trades in Thursday's video are not holding, and potentially we could break into a very severe downtrend Monday, Tuesday. Monday's activity is absolutely critical. If we do not hold the current levels on a whole bunch of charts, then it all kind of falls apart, bombs away. So if you're interested in what I am seeing on my charts, then keep watching this video. First chart to show you is better sine wave on kind of a low, medium, high time frame. Starting off with a weekly time frame, kind of backing it down one time frame to the daily chart, and then backing it one down to 135. There's a factor of 3 between the 135-minute chart and the daily chart, and roughly a factor of 3 between the daily and the weekly. So this is kind of an important bigger term, longer term combination here. First of all, on the daily chart, this was the chart that I've been kind of talking about over the last couple of months, that we had a second cyclical turn after an end of trend warning signal here. This was the Bin Laden high, and since then, once we broke critical support up in the 1300s, here we're in a downtrend in this time frame, and we're coming very close to a cyclical resistance level, which will be a pullback and a downtrend level. So that's started to play in on this time frame. I've been saying for a while now that this downtrend will not be over until we get cyclical support on the weekly time frame, and that will probably coincide with an end of trend warning signal on the 135-minute chart. Now, with the last activity that we've had over the last few days, we've had this pullback in a downtrend signal here. So we've broken into our downtrend, continued on, pullback in a downtrend, and we're due to make an end of trend warning signal here, but we're coming extremely close to this kind of 52 type level that was kind of the low over the last few days. And my concern is that we've not put in enough kind of bullish divergence patterns to hold us at that level. So, if Monday or Tuesday the bulls do not rescue this, I mean, if we do not have a rally on Monday, then that low will fail, and we'll be in all kinds of trouble on the downside. And we're still, a couple of weeks away from the support coming in on the weekly time frame. And the way this will play out, it'll play out into a bigger trend move on the daily chart. So we'll have exactly the same type of pattern that we have on the 135-minute chart, a downtrend, pullback, end of trend. We'll be having this on a daily time frame. So we're in a downtrend here, pulling back to this pullback and a downtrend to an end of trend. And because it's on a much higher time, a higher time frame, the move is going to be a bigger move. The 135 potentially could end here, but this daily time frame pattern is going to end a lot further down. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of my weekly charts, and then it's kind of confirmed same type of patterns being seen on a whole bunch of charts. Just let me roll through those. X trend, better X trend here. This is this trailing stop based on exhaustion volume. We've been in this nice kind of downtrend signal with this trailing stop kind of coming down. Each time we come into under the lip, here with the trailing stop, we've been rejected. Last time was at the beginning of the week. We came into that lip, we're rejected, and we're kind of on the way down. The trailing stop has not been trailed down because we've not seen exhaustion selling yet on the downside, and so don't think we've seen that. Well, according to these charts, we've not seen that over the last couple of days, so we've yet to see that, and that's likely to happen once we break these lows. Better trend line. So this is just showing daily chart of trend lines, and we've got this kind of support level been painted by the automatic trend lines here. We're in congestion because we're between a rising uptrend and a falling downtrend here with these white bars. You can see right here, and what happens with congestion is we move into strong moves. The last time we were in congestion at this point here, we got rejected at the top of this trend line, and we fell through here into a big move, and the same thing's happening at the moment. We're in congestion, we're very, very close to this support level. If this does not hold Monday, Tuesday, then we're into a bigger move, trend move collapse on the downside. And then just going through the risk-on trades, this is what I was talking about last couple of days. So I think it was last weekend I was talking about how I was seeing support potentially coming in on all these time frames, and we have had that. All these time frames now have cyclical support being put in. However, it's starting to break down, and so what happens is, we move from trend moves into a period of congestion into another trend move. So on crude oil here, the last trend move we have was from this support level here at effectively where we are today, 90, broke into an uptrend, finished with a pullback to an end of trend. Then we go into some kind of cyclical activity where you can see support, resistance, support kind of tends to hold through that congestion period, and then we break into another downtrend, either an uptrend or a downtrend, but we're breaking these cyclical support levels here. We've had exhaustion selling. I've had a little bit of bullish divergence, but that was quite a while ago. So, do we need to see some kind of flush pattern to kind of hold this? But as soon as we break below this cyclical support in any kind of meaningful way, and we're absolutely at this critical level here, this has to hold. If we break that on the downside, that means we've got to form pullback to end of trends and a trend move on this daily time frame, which is going to be a big move. Same thing, euro. Last couple of days we had our support level hold. We've had that broken. We've closed below it on Friday's close. You can see the last time we had a rush for the doors here, exhaustion selling, we came back up, very weak buying into a Rambo pattern, no demand here, ended up with exhaustion buying at this point. We ran out of steam into a cyclical support area, came back to a blue professional bar to kind of hold these previous lows, but we've come back to test that support level there, and at the moment we're not holding, so potentially that could fold. And obviously there's all the news out of Greece and Europe, particularly kind of Tuesday into Tuesday, Wednesday into the 28th, I think, and the 30th of June. There's all kinds of political stuff that's happening in Europe that could fall apart, and the euro could just fade away. The dollar index is showing a mirror image of the euro chart, if you like. So we had our end of trend a couple of months ago. We had exhaustion. We kind of fell through that, but had exhaustion selling on the downside, bullish divergence. These blue professional bars is the professionals kind of heading for the exits, kind of getting long quick as they can. We test back down to those lows. We have quite a lot of selling at that downside, but you can see it's a Rambo pattern. It's kind of amateur down bars at cyclical support. We kind of get going to the upside. This is a little bit of a rush here, professional up bar, bit too much too fast at this point. We come back, we test the lows of that blue professional bar here, and it holds. So that shows that is professional buying at that point. We come back up, and now we've broken through cyclical resistance at this point, and this is jumping the creek. Blue professional bar kind of getting on board this move, buying the dollar index. And that could be a way to the races, and that could mean all the other currencies going the other way. Silver, cyclical support, come down to, we're just resting right below it, very critical there. Gold, same thing, last couple of days, blue professional bars. Is this the professionals getting on board a selling move at this point, kind of getting going as they tried before? Got so far, retested back up to where that move started, where the professionals started selling, got rejected here at an end of trend, no demand, Rambo patterns, all of these amateur up bars into these new highs at 1550, all those kind of gold bugs selling, saying, there's never been a better opportunity to buy gold than, this pullback, all the amateurs kind of following that way, and have the professionals just sold it over the last couple of days, broken through support, and is this kind of falling through the ice on gold? Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar has been one of the strongest. Aussie, as along with the Swiss franc, has been one of the strongest currencies. But last couple of weeks, end of trend been printed here with a flush signal. Love these signals. When we get an end of trend with a flush signal, that kind of shows price activity and volume activity doing exactly the same thing. It's a final hurrah. It's like that fifth wave, kind of buying into these, try to test the new highs, run out of buyers, flushing the buyers out at that point. We kind of turn and go the other way. And Friday's activity on the Aussie dollar was very weak. We tried to hold this support level here, cracked on, almost went up to I think 105, but then we closed at the lows, and we haven't broken support, closed below support, but we're deadly close to that support level, not holding. Copper again, Thursday's activity looked like we were going to hold blue professional bar at cyclical support, but look at the activity on Friday, really weak, very weak close here, kind of closing, having tried to rally, closing back down towards the middle of that bar. And just lastly, to point out commitment of traders, I do show the commitment of traders signals on these divergence patterns when they kind of crop up, and this was kind of the activity this weekend with commitment of traders on the pound, British pound, kind of coming out. Another bearish divergent signal here on the commitment of traders. So you got this little pattern here, 3 little bearish divergent signals here. With the announcement of more kind of QE coming from the UK, the pound is looking pretty weak at the moment, and so that could start to really kind of collapse, and so the whole European story and kind of risk on trades kind of go away. Then just looking at the tip bar charts, the longer term time frame tip bar charts, 40,500 tip bar chart, last couple of days we've been, if you back this out, the last move down, the last kind of selling move that we had, finished with an end of trend warning signal here. And this is where I talk about, we move from trends to cycles to trends to cycles. So this is a trend move down, ends with an end of trend, and then we go through this cyclical activity, support, resistance, bang, 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 just through that kind of basing pattern here. Blue professional bars coming in at the end of the day, cyclical support potentially coming in, but we're going to break into a trend move now. And my worry is that we have not, there's not enough support, there's not enough kind of exhaustion selling happened on the downside for this to hold, and that we're going to actually crack through the 52 level here, or was it back here? 52 I think was made, and then we're into a world of pain. I mean, this could be enough that we had exhaustion selling on Thursday's activity, bullish divergence, professionals come in, but you'll see it first thing Monday morning. If that level holds, we'll have a rally from there, and the warning's kind of negated. But my fear is that it's not going to hold, and then all of a sudden we're into bigger trend moves on daily time frames. And let me just show you on the 4500 tip bar chart why I think that's kind of not going to hold. So this is Friday's activity, Thursday's activity, Wednesday's activity. So Wednesday's activity, we had this huge sell-off. This was Ben starting to speak, and then the market kind of sells off. Finishes up with a really nice end of trend warning signal kind of down here. I'd finished trading after my one shot one kill on the Thursday, so I was not watching. Well, I think I was watching the activity, but I wasn't trading after that trade. But the retracement that we saw on Thursday, you can see, is one of these complex retracements. It's not a trend move up where we bat backwards and forwards between cyclical highs and lows. So complex corrections like that take place in the middle of downtrend moves. So trend move down, complex correction up, trend move down. And so this on Friday's activity, you can see beginning of the day we had cyclical resistance kind of put in, and the market just fell away. We didn't hold at support, didn't have blue fractional bars kind of come in here. We filmed a pullback to end of trend at this point, and we saw kind of the professionals at the end of the week and end of Friday kind of coming in and closing out positions. But on the downside here, what you can see is we've not had exhaustion selling on the downside. We had exhaustion selling into this move, flush signals, end of trend, and we rallied from there. This rally, we had exhaustion buying at this point. This down move, we have not had exhaustion selling on the downside. And in fact, what we've had is these two little retracements back here to the pullback and this the resistance level after that were both flush signals. Those were flushing out the buyers at that point. So all the buyers were trying to get on board the move here. They couldn't push it up through 1270, and we've collapsed down to the 60s. So this is why I'm saying at this point here we've not had exhaustion selling on the downside. So I don't think this move's kind of finished on the downside. So don't think this kind of cyclical support on the end of trend on the 4500 tip bar chart is going to hold. Therefore, that means that on this higher time frame, I don't think this support level is going to hold either. So all of a sudden, we break into a downtrend below in the high 50s, below kind of 1260. Okay, so there we go. Quite a lot of charts, and all I'm saying is it's absolutely critical support levels on all of the risk on charts, on all of the equities charts, on daily time frames. And if that breaks into a downtrend on a daily time frame, that's a trend move on a fairly high time frame on a daily time frame, and that's not going to be over until we see pullback and end of trends on those time frames. So, and we've also got all this kind of critical news coming out of Europe this week. My personal bias is to the downside. Kind of bear that in mind with your kind of analysis. I tend to be a little bit more kind of bearish than bullish. All I can do is show you what's on my charts and saying I think we're about to break into a big move, and Monday, Tuesday's activity is going to be absolutely key. So watch out for that and enjoy your weekend.